Hi, this is Phil, and I'm here to tell you all about the Capes and Lunatics Patreon. Don't miss out on our comic book creator interviews, including our monthly Chichester chats with comic book legend D.G. Chichester, superhero movie brackets in our search for the worst comic book movie of all time, and many, many more specials, all completely uncensored. Access starts for $3 a month, full video when you pledge $5 a month. Check out the link in our show notes or go to patreon.com/capesandlunatics. Hope to see you there.
This is Luca Perich, and you're listening to the Capes and Lunatics podcast.
Recording has started. In a world of capes and lunatics, gods and monsters, there are those who seek to cause trouble. Trouble no one hero can defend against. Trouble for which a new team must arise. That team is the Avengers. And this is Avengers Declassified. I'm your host, Charlie, the Professor Esser. And with me, as always, is the blue-eyed bomber from the Berg, which is called Pitts.
Phil, podcast Perich.
Welcome, Philip. I am so glad you're here. As always, tonight on Avengers Declassified, we are talking
450.
America.
450 through 453.
450 to 453. Honestly, these numbers get confusing to me at a certain point. 450, though, has what I have to say is one of the oddest scenes. And honestly, I have to say, now, I don't want to be judgmental. Who does the artwork on these books, Philip?
Here, is it Ron Garney? Let me pull up the thing here. I'm pretty sure it's Ron Garney for most of this. Yeah, but believe because it's Mark Waid writing. Let me see. Here we go. Yeah, Mark Waid writer, Ron Garney penciler. Yeah.
So here's my question. I mean, was this an editorial decision at the top of Marvel of the 90s, which is that said, this is what we're doing, and
What?
everyone needs to draw in the Rob Liefeld style? Or is it that, no, they just hired a bunch of artists who said, yes, I too draw in the Rob Liefeld style?
I don't know if it was a mandate, but I know that style was popular in the 90s. So some certain artists may have been trying to ape that style just because it was popular at the time.
Mean, just the hair alone. Honestly, it's like, again, this is like where you have that moment where like the drawn hair of these characters has more life than the TV version of Medusa. It's just, where I kind of feel like at times Sharon Carter's hair is going to just attack.
Hey, man, 90s, there was some big hair in the 90s. Look at Peg Bundy. Come on.
Well, no, though ironically, Peg Bundy's hair is meant to be a throwback.
Yes.
To the 60s. It's like, it's this thing that it's just this weird choice to have these gigantic, and again, I understand it's that Farrah hair as we used to have in the 70s coming back, but like with sort of almost a malevolent vengeance.
I wonder if it was just they went overboard, but they wanted to do something different than how she appeared originally, which was just like the straight hair and stuff.
Yeah, that was a mistake, is what we would call that in the business parlance. I mean, and that's the thing. And I get the idea of wanting to have a distinctive look for your character, but it is literally like the 70s, like the 80s. Like every time you have a distinctive look, it never ages well. And when you have a look like the 60s, which is Sharon Carter with just normal human hair, that actually ages just fine. So you can have the modern day Sharon Carter
Yeah.
with her normal human hair, and it actually looks normal.
I mean, yeah, we get back to that eventually. Yeah.
But I mean, like even in the TV shows,
Oh yeah.
it's like having Sharon Carter have normal human hair is allowable. And that's also what's also because this is also I want to. Is this like I'm trying to remember like when Black Widow had the cropped hair.
What, the short hair in the 90s? Yeah.
Yes, this is the same era.
Yeah.
And see, when Black Widow had the short hair, everyone else had the long hair. It made sense for Black Widow
Yeah.
because she's being more of an on the ground spy. It made sense for her to have the longer hair when she was still the femme fatale spy. Now, Sharon Carter, who is an on the ground spy, has the big hair.
Yeah, I mean, short hair made sense for Black Widow because it's like as a spy, you could be putting on wigs and stuff, and yeah,
No, on every level. On every level,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
just it's poorly thought out. Is all I'm going to say.
Oh,
Anyway,
you were talking about hairstyles. I thought you were going to talk about Bill Clinton's hairstyle.
well, I mean, look, they drew Bill Clinton just fine, and this is, I'm trying to remember, there are some people who were very angry at at the existence of Bill Clinton. Some people who are very not angry at the existence of Bill Clinton. I don't know. But everyone drew them. And to be fair, I can't tell them this because Bill Clinton seems like an idiot in this. And to that extent, it's a fair enough idea.
Why? Because in the first issue, yeah, he has agents bring in Captain America because, oh, well, the plans for this Argus cannon got out, and you and I are like the only ones who knew this. So I know I didn't leak it, so it must have been you. And it's just like, really?
Well, not for nothing. Are we to be implied in that suggestion that Bill Clinton just knows how to build an Argus cannon in his head? Like that he didn't write it down after Cap gave it to him? I mean, really?
Yeah, exactly. It's like I'm like, yeah, no. And again, it's like, I mean, I guess for purposes of the story, but it's like, yeah, neither Steve nor Bill Clinton, I don't think, had the wherewithal, even if they wanted to be like, oh yeah, here's how you build an Argus cannon. And two, we live in the Marvel universe. It's a world of telepaths. You're telling me someone couldn't have just snatched that info out of either one of their heads,
Or even just the original guy?
Exactly. Well, I thought they
I
said, did they say he died or something? Or
Well, he died, but 2
Yeah.
minutes beforehand, Steve Xavier, the janitor, could have like, "Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Oh, okay. Doo-doo-doo-doo,"
Yeah,
and
exactly.
just
Yeah,
walked
it's like,
out,
yeah. I mean, how many telepaths floating around? It's like, really?
Exactly, and it's just it's a little bit, and again, to that extent, that is literally what we get as a reveal later. But in this moment, it is just this idea that Bill Clinton's going to make this weird, random assumption, and then again, no trial.
Well, he says, I can't put Captain America on trial. He's like, it's going to be devastating to everyone in this country. So, yeah, I'm just going to ship you abroad. You're not allowed in the United
Well,
States.
no. He doesn't just do that, Phil.
Well, he takes
He
away
doesn't
his
just say
citizenship.
leave the country and don't come back. He says you are revoked of your citizenship.
Oh, yeah.
Which, I'm sorry, in the real world, a president can't just revoke your citizenship unilaterally.
Yeah, well, I thought every president had to show their taxes too, Charlie. Yes, sir.
Fair enough. Honestly, it's just, and I guess you can make the argument that, well, just Cap being a good soldier, he's just going to do what he's told. Even though he doesn't like it, he's going to accept the decision made.
Well, I mean, even back, those U.S. agent stories we did when John Walker took over as Captain America. So even back then, Steve was like, I really don't want to go to war with my own government.
Yeah, but I mean, honestly, this is
literally
a legal battle.
Yeah, well, what he did, once he gets, they ship him to England, and he said, he's like, you know what, first thing he wants to do, he's like, I got to go prove my innocence,
Yeah, but first off, proving any negative is a lot,
Yeah. Well,
and
Captain America.
well, yeah, I know it's Captain America, and to be fair, he does have to deal with the existence of the Argus canon as a thing. Um, but at the same time,
I know, and it's like,
it's a delightful conceit
I
that
know,
helps the story, and it is just
and it's like,
honestly,
do we trust the president? I mean, Nixon was head of the secret empire, so it's like, wait a minute.
yeah. Well, and to be fair, and not for nothing, Cap knows this.
Yes, yes.
You know, he's like, "Oh yeah, no, you're totally corrupted." You know, I mean, that's sort of the thing. It's like, when you've actually already had to deal with the president being your enemy.
Although with sliding time at this point, is that still a president? I mean, it can't be Nixon with sliding time, or is it just like
Well,
a high-ranking official in a?
I mean, I not for nothing, it is the president at the time. Which is why, thank goodness for Trump, because otherwise sliding time would have said Obama was the head of the secret empire.
Oh, yeah, I
But
know.
we dodged that because that was only 8 years, and then Trump is like, oh, obviously, that's who the head of the secret empire was. That makes perfect sense now. And you can go Reagan, George W. Bush, etc. There's people you can put into the sliding time scale now
Yeah.
that make as much sense as Nixon. And honestly, Trump is like the best one for that. So, but
Oh,
we're not
wait.
here to talk politics,
I
Phil.
was gonna say, do you ever see that meme on Twitter? They're like, "Hey, remember when Lex Luthor became president in like around the year 2000?" It's like, and he divested himself of all his business holdings when he became president. They were like, Lex Luthor was a more honest president than
Yeah,
Trump.
well, and again, because he's fictional.
Well,
I mean,
true.
that's the thing. Is like when things are fictional, they're very easy
Yes,
to make either good or bad. This is
but even Lex Luthor
Yeah,
followed
but
the rules.
that's lawyer Ganda versus propaganda.
Yeah,
It's like if you control the narrative, you can tell the story however you want.
true.
But that's a whole other episode for
Yeah.
another show, another time. Let's talk about what we're talking about
Yes,
today.
yes, yes. So yeah. I mean, the first issue ends. Yeah, they dump him in England, and then Sharon catches up to him.
Yeah, and again, it's just. I mean, great that she got all that hair up in that little mask. It's like when they draw Riri with the big hair, and then it just
It,
shrinks down into the mask.
It's comic book physics. I mean, it's like
I know.
those old stories where there's a Batman pulls off a mask and he's got the Batman mask underneath that mask with the big ears and everything.
Yeah. Or I mean, in any number of ways, or just you take off the mask and their hair is perfect. It's
Or they're wearing 3 masks. Yeah.
yeah. Although to be fair, that's one thing I did appreciate about the most recent episode of She-Hulk was that when the porcupine takes off his mask,
I know.
there's some funk involved.
We were sitting there last night. I'm like, oh my god, they did Porcupine. Yes.
Anyway, but moving right along. Yeah, so you get Sharon, and it's like no cabs, and it's like, probably would have been better if you just said, "Hey, Cap, it's me, Sharon. Remember
Yeah.
from our sex last night?" It's like, "Oh yes, I recall now. Yes, hello, Sharon. Yeah, you don't have any money. How are you going to hail a cab?"
She
It's
said
like,
she.
"Oh, that's a good point. I should have thought of that with my super soldier brain."
Oh yeah, she was trailing him. She said since the agents picked him up. I'm like, okay, I get it. Maybe she didn't want to be seen in America, but once he's in the UK, I'm like, why wouldn't you just walk up and like, hey, let's go?
Well, and not for, it's not like she wears a mask all the time. Like I said, not for who wrote this.
Mark Wade.
Okay, so I don't want to be mean to Mark Wade,
Yeah.
but I will say I feel like a little more effort could have been put into some of the scenarios.
I wonder if there was some anger involved in this just because Heroes Reborn is coming. And again, eventually after that year of Heroes Reborn, they do put him back on the new Cap book. But
Yeah, I mean, and maybe that's it. Maybe he's just mad about what he has to deal with. And it does seem, I mean, so much of this. I mean, and also you have that reality of the what's it called? Oh, well, just whole Sharon's being cut loose by Shield. Like, there's a part of me that thinks I didn't like. I remember a lot of this, but I also imagine that maybe I wasn't reading them very closely because it's like I think they redo a lot of this in later books.
I mean, maybe after Heroes Reborn, he might go into this further, but yeah, I can't remember if he ever went into detail like why she got cut loose. I mean, unless it's just there was some kind of big political snafu, and they're like, oh well, she's the scapegoat.
Well, I mean, I guess, and although to be fair, I mean that is one of these weird things is that Shield was falling apart several times at this point in history.
Yeah,
Because I want to say this is about the time that you have Nick Fury versus Shield, which I think is the first time you have Nick Fury have to bring down Shield because there's a corruptive force within. In that case, LMDs. Um, and then a few more times over the next couple of years because people have realized, oh, that's a great way to reset all the pieces on the board. Just have Shield be corrupted from within. Problem solved.
that's what I was gonna say. Yeah, this might be a time Fury's not in charge. They're just like, yep, throw Sharon Carter to the wolves. Yeah.
Anyway, so or maybe it's in Fury LMD that doesn't know it's an LMD in charge, because that happens from time to time too. Thank you, Max Fury. Um, moving right along.
So yeah, the next issue, yeah, they show they got a hotel room. Sharon gets him a new costume without stars and stripes on it. Gets him one of those fancy photon shields or whatever.
Yeah, photon shield. As you do from the local corner store. They have them. Got their little vibranium batteries or whatever at the time.
I mean, easier to conceal, man. Just turn it off.
Yeah, turn it on, turn it off. Do what you need to do. And then where does the adventure go?
Well, I think we get the whole thing with we start explaining the Machinesmith stuff, and Sharon's like, oh yeah, remember last week when the skull helped cure Captain America, and she was like, oh yeah, by the way, Machinesmith was there, and the skull really didn't tell me what he was doing, but he seemed to freak out when he was doing something to you. So
yeah, and that's a plot that comes back later. Because she can jump into any electronic device, but what is the brain but an electronic device? Ha ha! Ignore the fact that it actually works in a completely different system than a binary electronical circuit.
well,
system,
I mean, at least as they showed, it's not as easy for him to jump.
no,
He gets messed up when he tries to jump. Because he's like starts stuttering and seems to cause Machinesmith pain.
Yeah, he does seem to be in a lot of pain in this. But we do get this idea that so in the system, the Moldavians, not Moldovians, because that's a real country. This is the Moldavians, 2 countries over, right next to Sokovia and Latveria. I love how close together all these countries are. And I also love how they don't just pick one country. They do have several countries to pick from. Always go off to Madripoor, and then they have another couple places out in the middle east to Southeast Asia area too that you can pick. So there's a lot out there, and they're like Gotham City. Every single possible ecosystem is within driving range. Gotham Lake, Gotham Ocean, Gotham Desert, Gotham Mountains.
So yeah, I mean, basically, yeah, Cap and Sharon try to sneak into Moldavia. They go to that military base, steal a plane,
get shut down.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of the things that like they were very big into the cliffhanger ending in this.
Oh yeah,
which is not. I guess it's cool, but it's also just when you have the hero of the story get blown up, I don't know if that's as much a cliffhanger as, especially when and then tune in for Captain America issue 2 next week.
I mean, it just seemed very action movie to me. This
Yeah.
whole arc.
And that is fine in its own right, Uh it is what it is is what I will say.
Yeah. But no, I always remember that scene in the beginning of the third when, Sharon wakes up, she's falling, her chute hasn't opened, and Steve's just like coming at her because he let go of his chute to, get to her ejector seat to open her chute.
Yeah, which I think is actually a real physics issue, but we can deal with that later.
He was streamlined. That chair was flipping and flopping. I mean,
I suppose, but you also have to remember that his chute had already opened,
yeah.
so that lost him some time. So, and then he has to recognize that her chute didn't open. So, although I guess maybe as his chute is opening, he sees her chute isn't opening, and he ejects his straps at that time to fall down and do the whole thing, and yada 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 applies. Anyway, he does free Sharon, and honestly, yeah.
No, I was just gonna say they get into Moldavia and
They get into Moldavia, and that's like again one of these weird things where it's winter in Moldavia, but it doesn't seem once they get out of the area that it is winter anymore, and it almost seems like late fall. Like it doesn't seem like winter when he goes over to Latveria later either. It's just maybe it's because it's in the mountains. I don't know. It seems.
I mean, there's areas of this country where it snows, and other places where they hardly ever get snow, Charlie S. or so.
Well, but this is a much larger country than it's like most European countries are about the size of the Pacific Northwest or the Eastern Northwest or the U.S. South. Well, I mean the Southeast or the South mid.
Oh, you said Latveria, maybe Doom has weather control.
Well, I mean that could be it too. I'm just saying it just seems a little inconsistent.
Even the snow has to ask permission from Victor Von Doom.
Well, but and then you get over into the Quape storyline, or whatever that the 454, which I read, which I know wasn't on the list, but I thought gives a good end cap to everything. It just seems like none of the weather seems consistent, except as it needs to be. But in this moment, they're like, of course, I think we can both agree that if we share body heat, it's going to be more practical. And they're like, yep, I agree. And then they sleep separately because she's not falling for that old trick. It's like, I'll just have hypothermia. Thank you very much. And then, of course, Cap sneaks out while the people attack, and then Sharon has to fight the attackers, which is also like I don't know why he left her there. Well, he snuck out when he realized the attackers were coming, but he did.
Well, he snuck out to get a Jeep. I don't know if he honestly knew they were coming, but why wouldn't you wake her up and be like, stay on alert. I'm going to go get a Jeep.
Well, yeah, I mean, but the idea is he would know there was a Jeep available because he knew they were there. I mean, that's, I guess, the argument. Like, he heard them step on that twig, that one twig that you break, and that's how the other guy knows you're there. And they extrapolate everything based on that one sound of the twig and where it was when it snapped, and then yada, yada, yada occurs. So, but he does get out. We do find out that the Machinesmith is behind it all after they try to break through the Moldavian Gulag Gate, or I guess U.S. base, and there's the whole back and forth about how U.S. soldiers don't kill people for no reason. I know this is why there are parts of this series that people cringe at.
Well,
You
did he
know.
even say U.S. soldiers, or he was just like, yeah, no killing, we're not going to kill?
Well, he's just,
I thought that was more his code, than just U.S. soldiers don't kill.
well, she says, I know American soldiers don't kill.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what she says to sort of cut
well,
him off.
yeah, I took that as kind of just kind of sarcasm. Be like, oh yeah, American soldiers don't kill.
Yeah, but they do, as we know.
Yeah. That's why she said. Okay,
And and this is the thing. It's like, but what really I think Cap should say is, of course, no, we kill, but not unnecessarily. That's it, is that we shouldn't kill unnecessarily.
Yeah.
And we didn't have to kill these people. There might have been another way. Although I guess Sharon's point is there isn't another way. We have to get to where we're going. We don't have time to figure out, how to Steven Universe this. We need to just get where we're going. And that will involve killing a few people. Fair enough. The villains do the same. And so long as we're no worse than the villains, we can still be heroes. They do meet up with Machine Man. Machine Man has a coin, Phil.
Machinesmith, yes.
Machinesmith. I'm sorry, Machine Man. That's actually a different character.
Yes. Oh yeah, he has a coin. Yes, he was able to extract all the information out of Captain America's brain. The Argus cannon. What else did he say? Hawkeye's shoe size.
But to me, this is a really interesting idea. Just the idea that within that somewhere out there is a coin with all of Captain America's mind and memories at that time that you could theoretically upload into a clone body at some point, and he would still be that 90s Mark Waid Cap. It would just wake up. He's like, what is going on? The last thing I remember was dying of this disease.
Oh yeah.
But all of his memories would be the same. He would feel like he was exactly that Cap from the moment that he died. And honestly, that seems like a wasted story potential that someone should explore.
I know, yeah, because 90s Cap. I mean, it was before he even went into Heroes Reborn. It's before Hydra Cap. It's before all that. Yeah.
Someone should bring that character back.
Oh, could they do a story like that? I mean, I'm trying to think how the sliding time would work, but like, I mean, if you did like a somewhat closer to real time, that would be before 9/11 too.
I mean, okay, I'm so they're not here, so I'm just going to talk about it. But let's be honest here. They were talking about how they, in our current Captain America story, they reviewed every Captain America and every like
Jackson Lansing, yeah.
Wouldn't it be interesting if maybe the revolution is 90s Cap in a clone body or something like that? Because they did that same thing with Red Skull. The Red Skull came back, but it wasn't our Red Skull, quote unquote. It was the Red Skull made from an earlier memory tape. And once you have that memory tape, you can come back, but then you only have the knowledge of that last person.
Oh yeah, I mean, imagine Steve Rogers gets brain damage. The only thing they can do is like jack in that old, outdated info. But again, it's like, oh hey, why Sam Wilson running around in a Captain America suit? Wait, Bucky's alive? What?
Yeah, I mean, anything like that. I mean, but like I said, it's just that. Yeah, I would rather not to see Captain America brain damage and then uploading his brain Tony Stark style. But I'm just saying that's a coin that exists.
Yeah.
That if any writer ever wanted to bring it back, could say, "Oh yeah, no, that's the brain of Captain America." If we could just clone a Captain America body, we can make a new Captain America to solve all our problems.
Well, like I said, even if that's a what if story, I mean, that's a good idea. It's like if you have to reboot his mind or whatever, and you only have that outdated knowledge, it's like he doesn't remember Civil War and against Tony Stark. He doesn't, all that stuff.
No, there's a lot of great potential in it. I'm not arguing that. I'm actually saying that's a great story too.
Yeah.
So anyway, yada yada yada. So the whole plan is Machinesmith has taken over a bunch of guards and people around the president because the president is meeting with the Moldavian Prime Minister.
Well, I guess he had a robot body or something. It's
Yeah.
there, yeah. It's both Machinesmith with a peer, basically.
Well, yeah, and I like, and you gotta love the man that he's at least consistent in his look. He tries to be. He tries to give at least enough clues so you know that's actually a Machinesmith.
But I mean, he's basically like hijacked a helicarrier. He's basically like,
Oh, yeah.
eventually I'm going to get the nuclear warhead. So like, while Sharon's on the computer, Steve breaks out of the bunker. And where does he go to get him? Who does he go to get him back to the United States quickly? Charlie,
That dropout Victor Von Doom. You know, to be fair, Steve's a dropout too, so they can bond over that. You know. I assume Steve's a dropout. I don't think he ever graduated high school.
I mean, he probably got a GED or something from the army, something.
Yeah. Well, you know, he might have got. Tristan pointed out he might have got. Yeah, you know. We shouldn't assume, but just because he's a poor kid doesn't mean he couldn't have gone to high school. Although, actually, Tristan, at that point in history, public education was not as robust as it is today, nor is it as required. But as Phil pointed out, he could have gotten his GED when he went to the army. Was the GED a thing in 1940?
I don't know. Oh, that's a point. That's a good point. But yeah, I mean, even back then, I know in the Depression it was, but even in the early 40s, late 30s, early 40s, weren't, if the family needed money, they just shipped the kids off to get jobs, right?
Well, exactly. And at that point in Steve's history, he had no family.
Yeah, but even before that, it was just him and his mother for a while.
Yeah, well, exactly. So I mean, he might have just gotten his knowledge from good old Andrew Carnegie and the Carnegie Library System.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, that's the thing. Is like, you know, these guys built libraries, so kids would go to the library and would read the books, and maybe Cap was a guy who read a lot of books. Anyway,
I love Duke. I love when Duke's just like, no need to report back. I know you failed when the sky's full of nuclear bombs. Yeah.
Petty. Yeah, good old Doom. I mean, you know, but I do like that he packs in the replica copy and the replica shield.
Yes.
Which, as Cap makes a point, it's like, you know, I get what he was saying about, you know, everything you're going to need, including the replicas. But it's like, but you really have to understand they're not as good as the original.
Oh yeah, he's saying that as he's like he's like beating on robots, and you see that fake shield like coming apart and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. What are you gonna do, Phil? What are you gonna do?
But yes, then Machinesmith tries to jump into Bill, take knowledge from Bill Clinton's mind. He's like, oh my God, this must be what happened to Steve Rogers. Duh.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Although one thing I do got to say about all of that is just the idea that, just fascinating that Dr. Doom has a Captain America suit and shield just ready to go, just in case.
I mean, he has Doom bots. You don't think Doom had like a 3D printer back in the 90s?
I mean, I guess so, but even still, that's a lot to 3D print. I'm just saying, it's a lot to 3D print. It's a lot of.
I mean, unless he had the equipment on the plane, and it was being made on the plane while Steve's flying over. I don't know.
I guess that's a possibility, but it doesn't seem like it takes very long for him to fly over. Because not for nothing, that's sort of this is that, ultrasonic flight stuff. It's like, it seems like it's all going very quickly. Because the telecarrier is about to crash into Mount Hood. The Moldavian it's all happening while they're over in Moldavia. It seems a lot. It seems a lot, Phil. That's all I'm saying.
I know.
They're not even fighting crosstown traffic from, Washington Airport.
And but as Steve even pointed out, that costume and shield weren't that good anyway. So
fair enough. So anyway, they fight, and of course, Machinesmith jumps into the nuclear football, as you do. Tries to launch all the missiles, but then they destroy the nuclear football, and the world does not end horribly. Yay!
Yay! Gotta get the apology from Clinton at the end.
Get the apology. I assume whatever thing he wrote to say Captain America ain't no more a part of our club says, okay, he can be a part of our club again. I'm sorry. right underneath on the yearbook, and that's how that happened. I do love when they say, "Well, we'll deal with Machinesmith when he shows up again, if he shows up again." It's like, do you think he's gone forever? It's like, well, I wouldn't count it out, but because in truth, yeah, that's Machinesmith for you. Um, no one's ever really dead in the Marvel universe. Okay, and did you read the 454?
Not this time, but I have read it before. I think I
Yeah, I mean
remember enough
it's a
of it.
nice story.
Yeah.
There's a whole thing about this is a Cap coming back to find Sharon again.
Mhm.
Not going to leave her behind the lines this time. She's in a little town or a little country that's obviously run by a dictator. Although it's not run by a dictator, it's run by a super brilliant cyber hacker from Georgetown University. Man, just giving you that little hint that yeah, man, they go over to their country and they come to our country to learn all the secrets, and they go back to their country and take over and be evil, Phil. Anyway, that's the plot line. They have a little Yankee town area where they just have all that Yankee decadence, because that's what the real ruler likes, is that little small area where you can have that decadence and have your McDonald's. And they go to the prison camp where Sharon was held, and I'm not quite sure what she wants. That she wants to go back to the prison cell, which doesn't make any sense. But then Cap just breaks everyone out of prison. She's like, these people aren't ready for a march. It's like, well, they're going to do it. And yada, yada, yada. They do it, and they get away, and yada, 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 yada. The day is saved. So, yay. That was good. Phil, you want to talk any other comics this week?
Yeah, I mean there were some new ones. Did you get a chance to read Captain America: Symbol of Truth?
Yes, I do. Yes, I did. And of course, one thing I will say is, uh, he's not Sam Wilson anymore. He's Captain America, and he can do this all day. Um, he is fighting. He is fighting
T'Challa.
T'Challa, which is fun. It's good, and actually, I love the fact that he's holding his own against T'Challa, as they have a real nice political debate. About power, responsibility, and yada yada yada. You know, um, this is part of the larger White Wolf saga, but the idea is that there are these terrorists who were planning an attack on uh Wakanda. And after Sam beats up Crossbones, who was the terrorist, we see that he has to deal with the Dora Milaje and the current prime minister, who then goes on, and again, this overly onerous action where she bans not only any new immigrants from the U.S., but all current immigrants and those who have been granted Wakandan citizenship.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, that is cold.
Yeah, I mean it's a little over the top, but like here and even in the Black Panther book, I think like that new government is so intent on showing, we can run our country without the, T'Challa or a king, and we can't look weak in front of the rest of the world now that we're, almost like a democracy and not a monarchy and stuff.
Yeah, and that's fair, but also,
yeah, I agree, it's cold, but yeah, that's there.
I like the backup kind of lines with Falcon and the girl that he rescued. And I'm not sure, and that's the interesting thing. It's like the pebble in her shoe, is that vibranium? Is there another horde of vibranium in the American Southwest into South America? which, for what it's worth, is sort of hinted at in the new Black Panther film coming out, that the Atlanteans have vibranium as well. So that's interesting. We do get to catch up with the White Wolf here, and he is not happy the terrorist plots are not occurring. So, because he breaks the glass in his hand, the classic symbol of someone who's not happy. And that was Captain America. I enjoyed it, Phil. How about you?
Oh, I really, yeah, I've been enjoying this series. I've been enjoying both Captain America series.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many books you want to talk. I mean, I got Defenders. I've got, what's this book? Which book this is? It's Captain America. That's the Thunderbolts. We just talked it.
Did you get to read Ant-Man?
No, I did not read Ant-Man. Tell me about Ant-Man, Phil.
Well, again, I mean, we're doing our whole time travel thing this time. We get Scott Lang and Cassie Lang. We get the whole thing with
Which Cassie Lang, Stinger or
Stinger?
Thatcher?
Stinger, yeah, Stinger, yeah. Because I think I think this is the present, but they're dealing with like the Hank Pym Ultron. I'm like, is he still Ultron at this point in the present?
Oh, but when Hank Pym was Ultron, were they?
Yeah, because they were dealing with that whole thing. Yeah.
I mean, not currently, but it was a thing that existed not too long ago.
Oh yeah. But I swear,
it's a variation on the Ant-Man. It's a variation on the Ant-Man hypothesis.
Yeah. But I thought they were doing a whole future or a whole present day thing, but
yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, it's present day enough. It depends on where in the present you are.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, because Tony Stark and Thor were trying to decide, what they should do. They were going to like try to where they could imprison the Hank Pym Ultron, and then this whole thing ensues where Scott tries to steal him, and then Black Ant shows up and tries to free Hank Pym Ultron. But yeah, oh God. Yeah, I forgot how this ended. Because they're more time travel because I guess they're going to meet up with the Hank Pym from the past. But All Father Ultron.
All Father Ultron. Oh my goodness.
But no, I mean this theory, I've been enjoying this series also. Like I said, we got some present stuff. There's the Al Ewing still keeping up with the time travel stuff. I told you I was reading some of that Avengers X-Men Eternals crossover.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was they did an Avengers issue for that. Just like a one shot. And that's the thing. Like this, the Avengers issue is good. You should read it because
I did with Hawkeye.
No. There's just like it's like a A.X.E. It's just like an Avengers one shot issue. Number one. I just put it in the thing, but no, it's when the Celestials like judging Tony Stark.
Mm-hmm.
And like using it like his father to like judge him and stuff. And I think it was that issue, but they were in his head like, if you hadn't given up that godlike Korvac power a little bit ago, you could have solved this whole mess. If you just could have held out I think it was some of the Avengers in his hallucination. They're like, if you could have held on to that power a few weeks longer, you could have just snapped your fingers and cleared the Celestials off this whole thing, and no one would have to worry about anything.
Well, that's an assumption.
Yeah, but I think it was just the Celestials just like in his head trying to judge how he reacted to that.
Yeah, but I think, and that's, I mean, and that is, of course, the whole thing. When Hawkeye faces, the Celestial, he's like, why do you think I care what you think? If you're going to destroy us, you're going to destroy us, and that's fine. It sucks, but I'm not going to try and shoot an arrow at you because I'm well aware that's probably not going to accomplish much. But more to the point, it's like I help people, and you can make your own decisions on what I do or what I don't do, and I'm just going to live my life for me to be a good human being. And I think and I think some people said that this is where Hawkeye saves the planet in a very real way, because he like basically calls the Celestials out for who the heck are you to judge? It's like, well, it's like, yeah, okay, I know you have more power than I do. I'm aware of that. I'm aware that, same reason why when I'm in Latveria, I be very nice to Doctor Doom, because quite frankly, I know he can have me killed until I can get out from under him. That you have more power doesn't make you more powerful, or make you more morally right.
Yeah, and again, it's just Hawkeye. It's like, who am I? I'm just a guy with a bow and arrow. I'm just trying to do my best.
Yeah, and that's why I really like that issue. But yeah, I mean, any of them, I get the feeling that the A.X.Es, it's a lot of moral quandary stuff. But at the end of the day, it comes down to like, who really are the Celestials to make these decisions?
Yeah, exactly.
What is their greater measure? And not for nothing, they've done greater measure kind of discussions where they've I mean, the Watchers have done that many times. They say, well, no, if you just look in this alternate universe, here's what happened when you did do that. So maybe it's okay that happened. Don't worry so much about Uncle Ben dying, Pete, because otherwise you might have become a real jerk and a game show host. So you know things can be different. Hey, speaking of Ant-Man and the Wasp, I'm
Oh,
sure you read Damage Control.
yes.
This is, and I don't know, man. Sort of a busted clock is wrong twice a day. I do wonder if there's a Flurkin loose at Damage Control HQ, but that's going to come back. But we see, and again, now it's been a month. I don't even remember why they're trying to find this guy a job. He
I don't know
seems
if they ever
bad at
said
this.
who he was, but yeah, it wasn't the first issue. It started with him like basically just showing up for the first day, and they're like, "Oh, well, yeah, we'll try to fit you in here."
Yeah. Well, this is Gus, and man, now that makes me wonder, like who is Gus? To the long boxes, Phil. Is he secretly Gus? Like, see, I think Gus now. I immediately think Gus Gorman, but that's DC.
Is it Gus Fring from Breaking Bad?
Gus Fring from Breaking Bad.
That's his name. Yeah, Gus from Breaking
I don't know who Gus from Breaking Bad is, but maybe Phil does.
Giancarlo Esposito.
Oh, okay. No, this isn't.
Yeah, that's not him. No, but yeah, that's who that is in Breaking Bad.
But yes, but this is a different Gus, and so he gets put in complaints department and waves everyone through because he believes everyone's story at face value, which is like, it is one of these things where like part of you wonders, is this an undeveloped cosmic cube that has gained sentience?
Well, I always wonder, I always wonder if like maybe they're trying to set it up where, oh yeah, it's got something, but this guy, what's the is that a redheaded guy? The redheaded guy who like always like takes him from job to job. Is that like Loki or something secretly in the skies, just trying to like?
Well, I guess
cause
he's
chaos or something?
actually he's one of the original interns from the original Damage Control series.
Mm.
Although he could be just someone taking that form. Although I do like the idea of
Bart or whatever.
yeah, the Red Beetle and Ant-Man, Scott Pym Ant-Man fighting in some beachfront city, and then Hank Pym accidentally shrinks this guy's family.
Oh, Scott. Yeah.
Oh yes, I'm sorry, Scott. Scott Lang accidentally shrinks this guy's family. But then it's like, no, that was all over the news and yada yada yada. And then they call in, and again, you would think there'd be a better channel for this situation. Like that seems like the kind of thing that you would triage almost immediately, rather than making them go through the bureaucratic loops. And we do meet Glidget Man, who is a microversian who has helped Scott and Nadia in the past, and he's here to help again. So that's good. And they're going to get Gus a job outdoors next week. So that should be fine. See, when we first met Gus, I kind of felt he was an Eddie Haskell-esque character.
Mm-hmm.
And now I feel like, well, there's got to be something more to him. If you remember Eddie Haskell, where he would just say, yeah, I'm the best guy for the job, and then he would just totally goof it off. But this guy, he seems like, oh no, I'm the best guy for the job, but also I'm not. I have no filter or no understanding of what I'm doing. So
Did did you see this listed for next issue on the last page? Yeah, it's Thor versus a giant mutated catfish monster. It says.
there you go.
Damn
Maybe
polluted.
they're going to Japan and there's the giant catfish that
Oh,
live
please, those
under.
polluted New York rivers.
That could be it too. All right, Philip. Do you want to talk any other books this week?
I mean, it's an Avengers book. I'll just say it real quick. Thor 27, of course. Yeah, Eddie Brock shows up.
Eddie Brock. Oh,
The
what's
King
he?
in Black.
You made him a Hulk. Now we're going to make him a symbiote. Why not?
Well, no, but the whole thing is, Thor's sitting around moping because when he got Hulkified, he destroyed the Rainbow Bridge, and
Again.
yeah, and so Loki's like, you know what, we might be able to put this back together. It might take a while, but Loki's like, for now, maybe I could just open a portal we could walk through, and he opens up a portal, and then let me get this guy's name right. And who pops out? But covered in a symbiote, it is, what is that? Darkoth, the Death Demon.
Oh my!
Who Thor fought in Thor 325. I think he made an appearance in Fantastic Four too. But
there we go.
But yeah, he's covered in a symbiote. So then, yeah, who pops their brain into another symbiote to help? Yes, Eddie Brock, the King in Black.
Well, that's nice of him. So he shows up.
Yep. But that's continued. So yes, they'll get that next issue too.
Okay. All right, Philip. Let's call it a night because it's already almost an hour.
Yes, sir.
Philip, you know what I'd like to tell people? That if they like this show and they would like to talk about this show, they can always write to us at CapesandLunatics@gmail.com. That's CapesandLunatics, all one word, at gmail.com. And of course, they can always call us and leave us a voice message so we know what they think real in live time at 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And likewise, if they would like to just give us money because we're so pretty, they can do so at Linktree, linktr.ee/CapesandLunatics, where you can join our Patreon to give us money, find out about the worst superhero movies of all time, vote for them if you would like. Likewise, buy lots of merch, like aluminium mugs that keep your cold drinks cold all night long, or t-shirts, which I'm not wearing, but I usually do, that are emblazoned with the Capes and Lunatics logo. You can do all that at that location, linktr.ee/Capes and Lunatics.
And like Lilith always likes to say in all the show notes, there's just a Cash App link if you just want to randomly throw cash at us. Yes, that's fine too.
We like the money. All right, Philip. And then, of course, if people would like to write to me in an old-fashioned email way, the way our mothers and fathers once did, they can do so at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, at gmail.com. They can follow me on the Twitter as I live tweet things when I feel like it or when there's something new to do. At Charlie Esser, that's CharlieEssesscr. Look for the two E's in the middle.
For quality. Bing.
Thank you, Maz. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it has been another adventurous day, learning the deepest, darkest secrets of those who keep us safe. Return again next week to listen to another Avengers Declassified. This episode will self-destruct in 10 minutes.
Oh, that's right. Remember, we made that decision. Next week, kids, the first Vision and Scarlet Witch miniseries, the original 4-issue miniseries.
Ooh, that'll be fun. Because it's October. It's Halloween. It's the spooky time.
Oh, it's going to be dressed like a witch.
Oh, well, that'll be fun.
Thank you for joining us in this country.